Hello.
Now, I think we've found Dr. Mohamed uh, under the guise of iPhone. But I found it. I found you. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm really pleased to be. I mean, I'm honoured that you're on the Zoom at all. Even this virtual meeting is fantastic with you. What you've gone through, I cannot imagine. And I know so many people have got so many messages of support for you and for everyone in Gaza. Um, I'm choked up to even be able to talk to you, I have to say. But what's the current situation in Gaza? Because we don't get any news. What is happening? I mean, why did you have to leave to come here? Because you were in trouble and it was a risk to your life, wasn't it?
Indeed, I was. I'm sorry, just give me a thumb up that you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Brilliant, brilliant. Thank you very much for your time, and thanks for coming to the airport, and thanks for all the people around for having the time to come and listen. Um, I probably I probably need another life to describe what I've seen and what I've been through in Gaza. Um, so starting with your question, why did I come? Why did I come out? Um, um, the situation over the last 2 months, I would say, it has become unimaginable. And I was in Khan Yunis, in the very heart of Khan Yunis. I'm sure you all have heard about the evacuation that happened and is still happening as we're speaking. Myself and a couple of families, we decided to stay and not to evacuate, to support the people who decided to stay. Um, we've decided not to leave them behind and trying to support them as much as we can, because this what the IOF wants is spreading fear among the people and let the people leave. And we don't want, we just want to support them basically. And the very best way to support them is just literally provide them with water and obviously the moral support. But then it came to a stage where the bombing were quite active. They were very blind. Um, Friends and families, they were just falling dead on daily basis. Um, the resources were extremely limited. And beside that, I've already been there for about 16 months. Um, I just felt it is the time to leave now. Plus, um, I've done what I had to do. We've supported the people as we wanted. We've established a good, excellent team on the ground. We've got an excellent insight of what is going on. So myself and the team, we decided time to come out and take Rebuild Gaza into the second level. Continuing definitely supporting them, but perhaps this is the time to come out, speak to the public, and tell them exactly what's going on, and take some actions, whether it's writing to our MPs or just give you guys an insight of what is going on inside, because this has to stop. Um, uh, uh, we can't be watching what is happening and just flipping the channels and expressing our disappointment of into what's happening. I don't know. Something else needs to be done. This war has to stop. Um, um, People are dying as we're speaking now. People are starved as we're speaking now. People are very desperate. They just don't know where to go. Their future is very black. It's very uncertain. You're meeting someone in the morning, you're not granted to see him in the afternoon. This is how bad it is. But as I said, it's time to come out, time to take it to a different level, time to and I can't wait to go back. To be honest, to Gaza, I feel here like a stranger, if I may say. Um, a good life, and I don't know. I really don't know. I feel I belong there. And Inshallah, hopefully we'll make the arrangement and we'll get back, support these guys. We're never going to leave them. We're going to continue doing what we're doing.
Now, I'd like to ask you a bit about this Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which was set up. And there's a story this week that Mossad are one of the funders. We've seen Israel's army firing at hundreds of people trying to get food. What did you hear of this when you were there? Were people wary of that in Gaza? Do they know that that might not be the place to go to?
People have got no choice. They absolutely got no choice. There is no food. And when I say there is no food, I do mean it, as per se, there is no food, absolutely zero. But let me start with this. You said it's operated by the Mossad and what have you. In my opinion, whatever organization is doing that, they're not pro-Palestinians and they're not someone to help the Palestinians. They are someone to strip them out from their dignity. They are someone to make their suffering even worse. And I'm not surprised. I mean, I'm sure you've seen on the TV, yesterday and today, the way people are gathering, to get the food is just really very heartbreaking. And in my opinion, if you want to feed the people, just open the borders for God's sake. Just allow the aid to come through. And all these things that they promote in the media, that the aid gets stolen by whoever, this is all untrue. They are all organized crimes, organized criminals, protected by the IOF. And there is no question about this. The last event which I've witnessed, it was in Deir al-Balah. There were a group from the government, I would say, they're protecting the aid, and I would put many lines under the word protection because they were protecting the aid, and there's no question about this. And guess what? They were struck by a drone, and even the public, the people that they want to help them out, they were even struck as well. So back to what you said, whether they are supported by the Mossad, they are supported by evil. That's how I would say it. And the amount of food that they're getting in, although for the public it resounds like if there is something coming in, it is a drop in the ocean. You've got 2 million people are starved, so getting 200,000 of flowers is nothing. It wouldn't even, appear on the surface. And I mean, why do you have to do all this? Just open the gate for God's sake, and just allow people to live. But what is happening now, they're systematically killing people. And before they're doing that, they're stripping them off of their dignity. This is what I see. And this is what's happening.
You talked in that short interview with me about how you didn't have anywhere to treat people as a doctor. Can you give an example of kind of treatment you'd have to make with someone without having any surgery or a place to do this?
Um, well, let me tell you about my experience at the European hospital. So on the day of the evacuation, I think that was back on May, there was an order of evacuation to the European hospital. Doctors, patients, everyone has left. And I think there's a video about this on my page that you can watch it. So we remained 2 doctors and about maybe 4 or 5 nurses. And just about midnight, we start having, God, like a huge amount of patients. Like they were coming in 20s and 30s, and everyone is critically ill. And they're all lying on the floor, and you just don't know where to start from. So each patient will probably have 5 minutes of my time, and either I do it or I don't, and I have to move into the next patient. We had to leave patients to suffer in pain because there were no medications. We had to amputate on a dirty floor because there were no surgical rooms. Equipment, they do not exist. And I know this might sound awful, but it's true, unfortunately. I had to use the same knife to amputate or do a procedure on different patients. This is a crime, in the civilized world. However, in Palestine, it was just normal. We had to suture kids, infants, 6 months and 7 months and 8 months with no local anesthetics. We had to cut limbs, although these limbs they could have been preserved and they could have been treated if we had the facilities. But unfortunately, it just had to be done in that way. It's either this way or there's no other way. The even when we do the amputation, the saw that we use is it's an electrical one, and it should be disinfected, and we had to use. Do you know the machines that everyone has at home, the drilling machines? The ones they operate on batteries. So literally, these are the ones that we were using. Medications, they do not exist. Analgesia do not exist. Watching kids crying their guts out from pain was something cannot be forgotten. And what was even worse than that is just looking into the parents and their mums, and you could feel everyone's pain. But then there's nothing you can do. It's absolutely nothing. A lot of people, they have died just before we were able to reach them. And as I said, each patient has just got this 5 minutes of my time, and either I can treat or I don't. There's a condition called hemothorax or pneumothorax, which is an accumulation of blood within, the lung. And this one requires a chest drain, a tube, to be inserted into the lung to drain the blood out. In the UK, to do such a procedure, it has to be done under extremely high aseptic technique, and you probably have to examine. Of course, you have to examine the chest before you do such a procedure. These patients were all, because of the noise, obviously, you can't examine properly. But I ended up putting a drain in every single patient who comes through the door. And guess what? Each drain was positive, i.e., was draining blood. And all these procedures, they were done with no anesthetics. You imagine you're getting a knife and you're stabbing it into someone's chest to open a hole to drain the blood. You're doing this procedure with no anesthetics and no disinfectants. And even in my heart, I knew even if I was to treat someone, I know he's going to suffer, in the long term, because there is no aftercare. He's going to die out of infection, because all of the Palestinians are malnourished, lack of vitamins, wound healing is absolutely zero, infection rate is extremely high. And whatever happened, whatever we've seen is not written in books. There is no policy in the biggest trauma center on this earth is able to deal with with such situation. What was even more heartbreaking is the burns. I don't know what chemicals they were using, what type of weapons they're using, because you could feel that the burn is active. It's like they've got this material that sticks onto people's skin that continues to burn. And because of the lack of facilities, we don't know what we're dealing with, what type of chemicals we're dealing with. Therefore, you're unable to provide any treatment. And the screaming from kids, I still can hear it, and what is even more painful is you can't do anything about it. So I know this might sound evil, but you even inside your heart, you wish if this patient dies, because you just don't want him to suffer. There's no burns unit, there is no dressings, there's nothing. Anything you can think of, it doesn't exist. It is nothing. And unfortunately, you know, this is happening in 2025. This is happening where the Jordanian borders and the Egyptian borders, the only couple of kilometers away. This is happening where the aid is just literally, you know, just across the border. But because of the evilness of the other side, you know, we were left to suffer while the world is just watching us.
It's, kind of speechless, really. But I just want to bring on, because I'm mindful of the time. Sarah and Shameen have both been sort of supporting your work and rebuild Gaza. How pleased were you, Sarah and first and Shameen? How pleased were you to see Dr. Mohamed back safely? I mean, the fact he's still here is a miracle, isn't it?
Just allow me, before Shameen, before you speak, sorry, I just need to say something, if I'm allowed. You know, the Rebuild Gaza is a good example of people unity, because while I was in Gaza, I was introduced to Shameen and Sarah from the UK, and we've established a team. We met the first time in the airport, face to face. Um,
All right.
so we didn't know each other before. The only
Oh,
common
okay.
thing we had together was supporting the people in Palestine, and it was a phone call conversation, and um, we discussed our objectives. They were amazing. They supported me. Um, I'm speechless, honestly. The amount of support I received from Sarah, Shameen, and the rest of the team was just amazing. And that just gives an example to the people outside. We can help the Palestinians, you know, we can. We are a good example of this. And we are a good example of the British values and how people can get together and do change something on the ground. Um, and I'm very pleased to have them part of my team. And as I said at the airport, you know, this is the time to take it to the next level. I'm very confident, you know, with the amazing spirit and solidarity and support that I had from these guys. With that, I'm sure we will continue and we will be making changes on the ground as we have done. So that's all I wanted to say about them, because you probably think that we were a team before.
Oh, I didn't know that you had
Before.
met. So what do you think of this strange guy then, Sarah, that you've met now from the airport?
It was absolutely amazing to see him walk through the gates. I am really angry with Stansted. Don't fly Stansted, everybody. I think for, you know, Dr. Mohamed is an absolute hero. I would support him if he wanted to learn to ride a unicycle at this point in time. You know, this guy has, and people really need to know how many lives this man has saved. And, you know, Shameen really is the engine room of this charity. And I think I feel that I'm a little bit on the peripheral. You know, the work that these guys put into this charity is incredible. But to see him walk through the gates, yeah, it was very tearful, very emotional. I can't thank everybody for their support and coming to support us as well in our emotional state. But it's going to be one of those memories that's going to stay with me for the rest of my life. But I can't thank Dr. Mohamed enough. I felt bad for nagging him to come home. I was you become so, and every Palestinian life is precious to all of us. Every Palestinian life is precious, but when you know someone and you respect them so much, I was terrified every time the phone went, every single morning, that he was the next on the list. And so to see him walk through those gates, there's huge relief, but we have to remember of all the Palestinians that have been left behind and haven't been so lucky. And I know that we are going to work with as many people on the ground as we can and keep pushing this charity forward and keep helping people and stay in contact with Dr. Mohamed and his contacts. And, you know, we're just going to keep working as hard. And this is a 24/7 job, and it always will be. But my thanks to Shameen as well, because I couldn't do what Shameen does. When Shameen was raided and she disappeared into the police station, I couldn't cope. I couldn't cope with her workload. Immediately, I just couldn't take over. There was too much to do. So, this all goes down to Shameen and Dr. Mohamed, really. I was just the tearful person at the airport shouting at the Stansted staff, really. And don't fly Stansted ever. Anyone, boycott them. I think they treated him very badly. This is a hero. And I've looked through, do you know what? I'm just going to just add before Shameen comes in, who's probably telling me to shut up quietly in her head. I have watched footage from Stansted Airport, from every airport. I've watched about 80 videos this morning of footballers, famous people, people less heroic coming through the gates and being welcomed and being given a hero's welcome. Stansted saying, oh, well, we don't do it because it disrupts our arrivals lounge is rubbish. What they did is make him go out of the side door. And I'm furious. I'm furious about that. And I'm going to remain furious. This is one of the biggest heroes walking through that door, was made to come out the side. And we shouldn't forget that. This is a man who saved countless lives and will continue to save countless lives. And yeah, I'm furious with them, but I'm so happy to see you alive. And I'm so happy to have actually met you in person after all this time. And you are as lovely as you are on the phone. And yeah, I'm very honored and I'm very proud of all the team. Our team, we're a big network as well. We've got Meds in France, we've got Emma Luna, we've got all these people helping to support us, to support him. So I've got to go a big thanks to everybody. You used the worst clip of me outside that airport, so no thanks to your cameraman. I'm bragging about how many
He's on the
events.
call. He's on the call. He's here.
Worst bit. But thank you, and thank you for your support. And I'll
No,
land.
look, I just wanted to say, Shameen, you were arrested and detained last week. We probably haven't got time to go into much detail on it, but that must have been horrific for you. But then to see Dr. Mohamed on Friday, I mean, have you forgotten all that horrible ordeal you had there? I mean, it must have been great to see him come through there.
It was, the arrest is an arrest on its own, and it was bound to happen because what we do and who we support are the people, the civilians. Is when we're not there talking about something that's Hamas based, it's people. We care about the people. And seeing Doc, when I got arrested, I was thinking, oh my God, Doc's gonna ring me. We have a conversation every morning, every evening. And I thought he's gonna think it's rare that she hasn't called. And out of all the time he's been there, I think when I got arrested, I think that was the first time, right? Like in 48 hours, I hadn't spoke to him. And the work we do, we have to communicate. He needs the support. I have to push him. He pushes me. I push Sarah. It's like a little teamwork, but it was a horrible feeling. It was a shock. They make you feel like, for supporting people to help trying to get water and food to people is made me a terrorist. And you just can't contemplate. You think, why? And the way they come into your home and go through every little thing just to disrupt so that you get distracted from what you're doing. It's like I don't even think it's more than what they come to arrest you for is so that we have less time speaking about Gaza. More people are concentrating on Shameen, and talking about her arrest, and nobody's talking about what's actually taking place. Like this morning, we've had 40 people killed, 220 wounded, for what? To go and collect aid? Where have you ever known an NGO who walks around with guns, grenades? I mean, all of a sudden, has there been a new thing that, we have charities now on the ground, humanitarian, that go around shooting at you rather than giving you some aid? Or is it just in Gaza?
Yeah.
And I don't understand how our government is sitting back, knowing what's going on and allowing this to take place just because Israel has said they are giving aid. I mean, where are they giving aid? When you see little babies dying because of starvation, that's a deliberate. It's not a natural disaster. Gaza's not a natural disaster. This is a man-made disaster. And everybody's accountable. My country supports Israel and provides them with bombs. We have Elbit factories out here. Why isn't there an arms embargo yet? By them doing a small little bit of sanctions because it's free trade, that's not going to make a change or a difference. But in the meantime, yesterday they sent drones out when people have walked from mile, say from the north or the middle of Gaza all the way to Rafah to stand in these pens, which is dehumanizing them anyway, for a start, and then making them wait, then sending drones out saying, sorry, there's no aid today. What is this, a supermarket? And we're getting arrested because we speak like this. So they can keep trying. Okay, so what? They've taken all my electronics. They're more than welcome to them because all they're going to see is babies being blown, their heads being blown off. You know, they're going to see pieces of baby all over the ground. Mothers and fathers picking bits of their children, putting them in bags. That's what they're going to see. And if that makes me a terrorist because I'm reporting on something that everybody needs to know because our media doesn't do it. I mean,
No.
how much do you hear on any of the British media, Sky News, BBC, ITV?
Nothing, but I mean, the thing is, I can't believe that Dr. Mohamed is not on Sky News right now. Really, I mean, I'm honoured that you're on here, but you should really be on Sky News, on the BBC main story.
The thing about Dr. Mohamed is, and I tell you, even though I never met him, it feels like I've known him all my life. I mean, we've grown into a brilliant relationship, as in, I can, even while he was there, I'd be really angry and sad, and he'll make me laugh, or he'll say something, or he'll send me a message saying, "Oh, the party started," as in they're starting to bomb again, just so that it keeps me going. And likewise, it was the same thing. And for him, there's been times where he sent me videos, which is right next door to him, and the house is a pile of rubble on the ground, and it's about 200 yards from him. I'm instantly, and I'm going to say this, don't take it the wrong way, Doc. I'm thinking, oh my God, he's not made it. And I'm ringing Sarah saying, Sarah, and then he won't answer the phone, or he hasn't called me or messaged me, and I'm like, don't ever do that to me again. How many times have I probably said that to you? I think probably every week, every other day, right? It's been like that. It's because we go to bed and we think, okay, I mean, every single day we think, are we going to speak to the person we've just spoken to? We wake up in fear, we sleep in fear, and we're nowhere near Gaza. So that's us. Now imagine the people in Gaza.
Yeah. Well, look, I just want to. We kind of run out of time. I mean, I wish we had another few hours to talk about this, but I mean, also don't want to tire everyone out as well. So I just want to say, Dr. Mohamed, I'm so much support for you here on this Zoom, and I'm going to try and make as much noise with this clip and put it out there and try and convince some of these other bigger media to take this story, and you get bigger audiences, and that's the only way we can do it. And Sarah is doing great work on social media, and Shameen, you're doing great work as well. So I mean, we've all people on this Zoom, please share this stuff, get it out there, do all you can, because it's so heartbreaking what I'm hearing, and I just can't bear the idea that we're letting them get away with this. So, once again, thank you so much, Dr. Mohamed. Thank you, Shameen. I hope to
Thank
speak
you.
to you again another time. And
A pleasure, Chris. Just, if you allow me for just 40 seconds, I just want to make a comment over what Jackie has said about the grinding machines that they have in Rafah. She said she's heard that there's these big grinding machines that they're grinding the rubbles. to wipe out the even the history of Rafah, and she's completely true. I've seen it with my naked eyes and even more, and I've got videos of these, which I'm happy to share. And the other thing is, the last thing I've left, Gaza, we were at the mortuary in the Al Nasser hospital, and the mass casualties, you know, as always, you know, they have arrived, but this times they were all in pieces. And I remember this dad, he was asking, you know, for his son, and I think he was just shredded, as many others. And then the guy, he eventually he just said, "Look, we can't find him. How old is he?" And he said he's 18. And then we just collected an 80 kilograms of flesh and had it in a bag and just hand it over to him to go and bury what we thought it was his son. This is how bad and how desperate the situation, and this is how brutal it is. And I'm ashamed and disgusted that this is happening in 2025, where we're calling ourselves civilized, and we're calling human rights, and we have values. And the last thing I want to say is, I know we're blaming governments, you know, and MPs and prime ministers and all these lot. However, you know, we've been trying this for the last 12 months, and in my personal opinion, you know, this war is not going to end from a decision from these people. This war is going to end by the public movement putting more pressure. And please, you know, when I was in Gaza, I was disheartened when I scrolled down, you know, the social media and seeing how, you know, the world is distracted and they've got other things to think about. But equally, I was extremely happy when I see people like yourself and your audience. They're talking about Gaza, and I can hear they're passionate. Honestly, guys, you know, we hear you in Gaza. You are the fuel for us to keep going. Please don't stop doing what you're doing. We truly appreciate what you're saying. And please do remember, you know, the history is being written as we're speaking, and everyone has a choice. Do you want to be part of that history, that you're standing up with the oppressed people, the vulnerable people, or you just want to be someone unknown, you know, like many others? Your grandkids, one day they're going to ask the question, you know, what have you done during that war? And you don't have a choice. Either you want to be proud of yourself and your grandkids and grandkids talk about you, or you just want to be an unknown person. That's all from my end. God bless your good heart, and thanks a lot for your time. And I look forward seeing you guys and sharing my stories. And rebuild Gaza, you know, it's been done by the British people, by the British public, and we will continue to do what we're doing with everyone's help and support. Thanks a lot for your time again.
Well, thank you. And thank you, Shameen, and thank you, Sarah, and I hope to catch up with you soon. All right. Speak to you soon. Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.